Hey, what's going on, guys? Bates here, and welcome back to the channel. And today, I'm here to bring you guys the SDL Season 11 WOOPER Power Rankings with my boy Frosty. Let him know, Frosty.
Hello, my name's Frosty.
And yeah, we're here to bring the PRs. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe for more. You already know. So before we get into the PRs all the way, I do want to talk about the methodology that we used to put these PRs together. Basically, we just ranked.
Well,
Oh, Frosty.
I think it's basically we both have two different methodologies to going about this. I don't know
Oh,
what
yeah.
you were using. I was essentially like just getting a feel for like what the teams were like, and that's how I basically assessed them personally.
I was just gonna say that we both put together our rankings and then we averaged the scores out, and that's the list that you see is the average between both of our rankings, and we'll show our individual rankings at the end of the video. But yeah, I mean, I think that's enough, and we'll move on to the 16th place coach, Billy Bob.
Oh, poor Billy Bob. Poor Billy Bob.
So
Oh, where do we begin?
yeah, where do you want to begin? Where do you want to begin?
Okay, I want to begin at let's say something good. Infernate plus Landorus is amazing.
That's a great core. Great core.
That's a great core. And I'm even willing to say I like Tangrowth and Blissey here.
I like Tangrowth and Blissey. Yeah.
Jolteon even a little bit. Just
Okay.
everything else. First off, there's 4 fighting types on this team.
Yeah. So this team has an issue of stacking a lot of types that are the same,
Yeah,
and it's not just fighting. So that's
yeah.
honestly its biggest
Fighting,
downfall.
electric, normal. Yeah, if this team didn't do that, I'm sure that it would have been able to make something good. Because I mean, those first two immediately are very threatening.
Yeah, exactly. But when you have four of the same type on a team, um, it's just like it just is a really really bad thing to have. And it's not just one. You have two electric types, and I think two normal types as well. So yeah, just
Yeah,
got to cut
and
down
the
on that.
thing is, those electric types and those normal types kind of fulfill the same roles, and all the fighting types, of course, fulfill the exact same role. Um, so it's more of a like it's really hard to have all the roles you need to have on this team when so many Pokemon are fulfilling the same exact role.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can't see a reason to ever bring Hawlucha when you have Infernape and Mega Heracross. To be honest with you,
Not gonna
especially
lie,
without terrain.
there's absolutely there's no terrain, so unless they're fighting a terrain person, it's not coming.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just can't see it. And I mean, Scrafty's a dark
Yeah,
type, but
I
even
definitely don't see it.
Scrafty, like yeah.
Yeah, no, there were way better dark types on the board.
And then in terms of like defoggers or Rabbit Spin, also really bad. like
Yeah,
um,
you get Lando, and Hawlucha being your only two defoggers. Essentially, you're forcing Hawlucha to come every game as a defogger, and you're already kind of wanting to bring in Burnape. So that's immediately two fighting types that almost have to come to every game, in my opinion, right?
yeah, and when you have so many fighting types, you're almost forced to also run your dark type, which is also a fighting type.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
which is also a
yeah.
fighting type.
So honestly, I think we've covered all that you can cover with this team. Like too many overlapping typings, and then the hazard game removal is pretty bad. So I think we're ready to move on to
Although
15.
I will
Unless you have more to
say,
say.
yeah, I think we're. I have one more thing to say. I will say it has two good rockers,
Yeah.
at least.
Um. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll imagine that there's a second one there, but um, we'll move to 15 now. In
Let's
15th,
move to 15.
we have Mary. What are you thinking with this team?
Oh boy, this team was better when it had Lando T. Not gonna lie. Um, so the first thing I have to say, I don't really particularly hate this team. Um, I will say Superior being your fastest Pokemon is not very good. Superior also being your only real ground resist. because your two ground immunities. Well, I guess Hydreigon's your ground immunity, but like Zapdos Galar isn't taking too many hits unless you're bringing bulky Zapdos Galar, which I mean is fine, but still not particularly amazing. Your only rocker being Mamoswine is atrocious because a Mamoswine is a really good breaker, and even though it can set rocks, it's just one of those things it doesn't want to do. I don't know if you understand. Like, I don't know if you feel the same way, Fate, but
Yeah, I mean, I also don't consider Mamoswine the best, like ground type. Like, it doesn't fulfill the
it
traditional role of a ground type in most drafts.
it needs a secondary ground,
Yeah, that's what I
in
think
my
as
opinion.
well. But one major point
Like,
that I want to
if
say,
it's team,
okay, I'll go. One major point I want to say
yeah, go.
is that most teams that are very good have one or two mons that are just like by far a top 20 mon, and they are absolute threats, and they can win any game at any time pretty much. And I cannot say that this team has anything like that. It might have like three or four like top 40 mons, but it doesn't have any like top 20 mons that really would scare me
It,
as a
I mean,
player.
like, I can see that. To me, I personally like Hydreigon Mega Gardevoir, but I can see Mega Gardevoir being a little too passive on this team for sure.
No, I mean, I think the Mons are all good, but also I think having to rely on Serp and Galvantula for speed is pretty bad because both of those Mons are not exceptionally
Yeah,
great.
that's.
Um, and then,
I
so
also don't personally like Lantern as your bulky water.
yeah, I think this team is just kind of awkward overall. You can see that
Yeah,
its type spread is actually pretty good. It's only weak to rock, but Klefki's the
yeah.
only resist.
Rock. Your
So
only Klefki. Klefki's your resist, which is, I mean, like, not the worst thing in the
yeah,
world, but still, rocks are going to be a problem. Anything with Stone Edge is going to hurt.
yeah. I mean, I will say this team actually has pretty solid utility. I just don't think it
Yeah,
has the Mon like the one or two Mons that really put it over into
yeah.
being a good team.
There's. I agree. There is going to be some matchups where this team can just win, but I think most matchups it's going to have a really hard time getting online.
Yeah, I think it's just going to have to use a lot of the utility that the team
Yep.
brings with Klefki and Arcanine and Serp, and then the several
Yep.
like breakers that he or she has with Hydreigon and Guard and Zapdos, which are all good mons. They're all pretty much the same speed tier as well, which kind of stinks.
Yeah, they're all really close in terms of speed. If they were like more spread out, I think the team would actually be better. But they're all so close together. Your big breakers are 100, 100.
And 98, yeah,
Uh, yeah, and 98. Mamoswine at 80. I mean, like, those are all really close together.
yeah. I think it has the breaking power, but also is kind of limited with the defensive backbone as well. With like Klefki,
Yeah,
Arcanine, and Lantern and Autono. Like, yeah, it's pretty bad.
it's definitely lacking defensively. Offensively, it's fine. But,
Do you have anything more to say?
ready to move on to 14?
Yeah, I'm good.
Not really.
All right, let's go. And 14th, we
Move
have
on.
Warrior. And this team, I believe, is one that Frosty was significantly more high on than me. Um,
No, I ranked this one like 10. I think you ranked this one like 13.
oh, yeah, okay. Um,
No, no, no.
which is hilarious because we have
We're
it at
not there
14.
yet.
We have it at 14. But, uh,
Oh, this
but
one's interesting.
yeah, so this team, I personally thought that in terms of breaking power, it's really, really reliant on Weavile and Zero Aura because I don't think Komo is a consistent enough threat in every matchup to be considered like that type of breaker. So I think it's really, really reliant on Weavile and Zero Aura, and
To be
those two
fair,
do
Mega
pair well.
Camera,
I'm
those two do
gonna,
pair really well.
I'm gonna like not count Mega Camera. I'm not a believer.
I love Mega Camera, but it really needs another ground type to be good. And this team just doesn't have a secondary ground.
Yeah. So this team, I think I could see it. Like if he can pilot it well, I think it can go
If
pretty
Warrior
far.
can pilot this team up, I will say it has a really good defensive core in Corviknight, Slowking, Komodo.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say as well. That the defensive core is really really solid.
And that's like not a thing we can say about a lot of these
Yeah, a
teams.
lot of the teams are
So
lacking in defensive core, so he may be able to just use this defensive core to win a lot of games. But yeah, for me, the main sticking point was that I think that Weavile and Zero are not enough to consistently get it
yeah,
done, breaking wise.
yeah, like one physical wall, this team's gonna have a really hard time doing damage.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Zero
Like
can go
Zero
special,
Aura,
but physical sets are generally better.
yeah, you're gonna have to run specs if Zero Aura goes special, and then it's gonna be still really hard to do some damage.
Yeah, but this team, I think it has pretty solid utility with good
Yep.
defoggers, U-turn, teleport. It has a really good
Even
rocker in
has
Como.
decent rockers. Yeah, it has
Yeah,
spikes. That's amazing to see.
yeah, yeah. So I think that this team has a lot of the tools that it could need. And honestly, we could have ranked it higher probably, but I think the ground being mega camera
We
up is tough. Although he does have zero aura
Yeah,
with both of them.
I think you mentioned earlier, if there's one team we're underrating, it's probably this one.
Yeah, I said that before we started recording. If there's one team that I think we might be underrating, I think it's this one. But
Which is fine.
yeah,
Prove us wrong,
yeah.
please.
But there's a couple months. I said I find this team awkward to play with like Komodo, Florges,
Yeah, I,
and Camera Ups
I
and
agree with
Scyther.
that. Some of
Like,
these pick,
yeah,
yeah, some of these Pokemon are really fucking weird on this team, not gonna lie.
yeah. I
Oh,
think that's
am I allowed to say that word?
yeah. You're chilling, dude. I think that's enough though for Warrior, and let's go ahead and
Yep,
move on to Day X.
KX. Oh, I got some words about this one.
Let us hear it. Let us hear it.
All right. So my first problem is so you know how you don't believe in Mega Camerupt?
Hmm.
I don't believe in Gligar as a ground type at all. In my opinion, it's just not good enough to be your only ground type. If it was like a secondary, it'd be fine. But that's not like the beginning of the problems. The beginning of the problems is, in my opinion, this team is way too weak to ground to only have one real resist to it, and then Gligar,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you have Mega Diancie, Jirachi, Toxapex, Incineroar,
Regieleki.
Aleki, all
Yeah.
these Pokemon that all these Pokemon that could be doing a lot of damage, and then like one really good ground type comes up to the team, and it's just like no.
Yeah, yeah, that is definitely its biggest issue, and I mean you see that reflected in the type chart there as it's super weak to ground.
Yeah, having Incineroar as your only Ghost resist isn't awful
I actually, I
personally,
actually, I
but
actually,
also
am gonna fully disagree with you here. I think Incineroar is an incredible ghost resist.
I just say it's not like I say it's not awful. I think a second, like a really low point normal would be nice. Something like maybe Kamola, not Kamola. That is not how you say that Pokemon's name.
Yeah, yeah, I can see
That's
what you're
more.
saying for sure, for sure. Um,
Yeah, it's like I feel like just one extra thing that you could bring to a battle if there's like a really powerful ghost type. But yeah, Incineroar is an amazing resist to ghost type.
I think that yeah, I agree with you on all these things, and honestly, the defensive backbone is kind of lackluster outside of like Hex and Incineroar in some matchups. But I
Yeah,
think I'll go.
I feel like Jirachi's gonna be running defensive a lot.
Yeah, it definitely will be. But the main thing that set this team apart from some of the other teams around it or below it was definitely its breaking power. Mega Diancie Kirim is just incredible.
Those two together are anyone. Here's the thing: you're gonna have to prep for those two specifically, and then it's like, are you gonna be able to prep for the rest when you prep for those two?
Yeah, and then there's still
Because in my
Jirachi. Yeah,
yeah, there's still a Jirachi. Like I don't know about you, but Kirim's like the hardest Pokemon to fight for me. So,
yeah, it's up there. It's hard to
like
check.
I'd be coming into this battle being like, okay, pinpointing that Kirim. And I feel like that's what a lot of the players are going to be doing, pinpointing Kirim and being like, how do I beat that? And then they're going to look, oh, there's a Mega Diancie right beside that. And then they're going to see, oh, there's a Jirachi.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a Regieleki that could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and he
It's
also
just all...
he has Kirim to take advantage of the grounds coming in on Regieleki because you almost have to because Regieleki claims if you don't go to your ground type. So he has Kirim to come in off that.
Yeah, if there's no ground type, Regieleki kind of just wins most games.
Yeah,
sadly.
and he can make easy doubles knowing that the grounds are coming in into Kirim, and
Yep.
like we said, Kirim is it's a beast. It's just a beast.
It's probably the best ground check in the game, honestly.
Oh, I don't know about check, but like offensively, yeah.
Yeah, I mean like offensively.
Yeah. I think we went over most of this team. It has super solid offensive power. Even Delmise and Passimian are great breakers as well for how many points they cost. It just is somewhat lackluster defensively and typing wise, but
yeah, I mean
it could be overcome.
To be fair, he does have a Doppler.
Well, I'm not going to count Doppler either. Doppler's actually kind of usable.
I mean,
but
Doppler. I've seen Doppler take some hits, but yeah, it as like one of your main defensive mons not good.
Yeah. But yeah, this team super solid offensively, defensively leaves some to be desired, and typing wise. I think that's about all we can say about it.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, overall, nice. Just needs a little bit love, in my opinion.
Yeah. So this team is wild. Number 12, Mac Daddy. Also, I didn't mention this yet. Stupid dumbass Frosty made all these guys shiny because he knows I don't like it.
I didn't even notice I made it shiny. I didn't notice until I saw the Blacephalon. I was like, oh, that's a shiny Blacephalon.
So, yeah, this team, I think this team, kind of similar to the last one in the fact that offensively, nuts. Absolutely crazy. But defensively, I think it's even worse than the last one.
I kind of agree. In my opinion, Rillaboom's gonna be running defensive here a lot, which you kind of like to have flexibility with Rillaboom, in my opinion. Umbreon's coming to every game. Thundy T may run defensive, possibly. And then Empoleon's not the best defensive mon, but it's pretty damn good. So.
Also, the only rocker is Empoleon, unless you're running Stealth Rock Mawile.
Please don't run Stealth Rock.
Yeah, which is like that's bad. So just kind of poor hazard setting and poor defensive back.
One thing I will say is your most reliable rocker is also your most reliable defogger.
Yes, yeah, both.
Which is really bad in my opinion because like Thundy T, in my opinion, just wants to be more offensive than defensive, and running defog on it's really weird. So Empoleon's going to have both of those slots just taken, unless you're bringing Golbat to every game.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing to say about this team is offensively, it's crazy. It has Zygarde, which is a win button. Pretty much
Zygarde,
like half the matchups.
Mawile, Rillaboom.
Yeah.
I mean, like Zygarde, Mega Mawile, Rillaboom, and Blacephalon can all just win games on their own.
Yeah, and even Thundy T is a little underrated because it's just so strong.
Yeah, I mean, it can also win games.
Yeah.
It's just, will they be able to take the hits that this team needs them to take?
Yeah, and honestly, all those mons are actually not that fast either, which is important to note, is that something that's pretty strong and fast, like 120 range, could be really hard.
I agree, yeah. Something that's not an Ambipom is your fastest Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. Like, which, by the way, another really frail mon. So.
Yeah, this team's very interesting in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like definitely a double-edged sword. Like.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of as if he was trying to go for hyper offense, right?
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
And then it got to Umbreon, and it's just like, okay, I'm not going to any more offense at this point.
Yeah, I think that there's a couple things he could have done. Like, I think instead of like what he did draft, I think he could have went more like just hard for hazards, and said like screw the typing, screw eating like this like small defensive core with Umbreon and Polion, and just go hard for hazards and really try to play HM.
Yeah, I absolutely agree that that would make this team pretty hard to prep for
Yeah, I think it would make it harder to prep for, and I think it would make it better.
and harder to beat.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
definitely
there's.
think it can be better, but I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, I think it's solid, and if he plays the HL well, he can win. I don't think there's much else we can add to it.
Nope, I don't think much more. Let's move on.
All right, 11. We got Tox. What do you think about Tox's team, man?
This one is the first one where we differed greatly.
Oh yes, yeah.
And here's the thing. I can see why you like this team. I just don't agree with the ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So I think we both generally agree that Stall is like not very good.
It's all really bad.
Yeah, but my sort of thought process here.
You're only.
Go ahead.
The first thing I noticed when looking at this team is first off, your fastest Pokemon's 100 base speed. Although that Pokemon does get Quiver Dance and it presses Quiver Dance every game, it's still not good to have 100 base speed as your fastest Pokemon, right? Although you do have Ditto who just presses Scarf and takes whatever your opponent is. So that's going to be happening a lot, which is fine. And then the other thing I noticed was your only fire resist is Slowbro, which it's not an awful fire resist, but once Slowbro goes down, fires kind of just destroy this team, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and put in my full opinion here. I thought the team was pretty solid. I might have overrated it a bit thinking about it now, but I think Gothitelle being able to trap the biggest threats on the opponent's team is great for Stall. And then I think Gliscor and Volcarona add a lot of offensive pressure because they can really win games on their own sometimes, which would be really nice for the Stall to have, as well as Gliscor is just a great one to have on Stall. And then Cloyster, Copperage, and Beware, I think one of those will come to most games.
One of those have to come every game.
And
I think Cloyster's probably coming every game, mostly.
I think Cloyster can come to a lot. I think the biggest knock on this team is that it's Stall without Clefable. It's Stall and Stall without Clefable.
I wonder who stole that one from him.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I don't know, man.
I think this team has, for the most part, the tools that can win games with Stall. So
yeah, I think it has potential. I just personally don't like the way the team was built. I can absolutely see why you'd rank this team higher than I did, but it's just, in my opinion, this just isn't really fitting together for me.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot we could talk about here because it's just straight up Stall.
Yeah,
it's just going to come down to whether you think Stall is good or not. Like,
there's only one good Stall player that I know. If you can be better than them, Tox, I'll give you a gold star.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is 10th. Sky, and I think we were pretty different on this one as well.
This is next one that we differed. We were pretty. We were close. I think I was. No. This one was 7 away.
Yeah, that's pretty far.
All right. I guess I'll say what I like about this team. Zama Spectrier. What else do I have to say? This team, the first 5 alone can do so much stuff that I feel like it's just going to be really hard to defend against this. Even with like the 2 or 3 really defensive teams, I feel like they're going to have a really hard time beating Zama, Spec, Nidoking, Megazord X. Now, I do understand why you put it lower. I mean, there's one rocker, one real defogger on the Zardex team. I feel like Zardex here, though, is more of an afterthought, and it's like, okay, you have Zama and Spectrier. I will say, everything after Spectrier is kind of bad. I mean, Trapinch as a 1-pointer is obviously goated, but I feel like you could have done better. I feel like Klinkling may be fine as a secondary steal, but I feel like everything else could have just been a little bit better.
Yeah, so my major gripes with the team, obviously, it's really solid offensively. But pretty much like what you said, everything after Spectre is super lackluster. I'm like a huge Crawdon fan. I love Crawdon. If you've been watching my channel, you know I love Crawdon. But I can't
I
get
even think Crawdon's fine. I
not
don't understand why Sky went for more offensive pressure after getting the like four of the most offensive mons in the entire metagame.
no,
You know what I mean?
I can't get behind Crawdon because you spent 10 points or whatever the hell Crawdon is uh, for just
It's
another breaker.
10 point. Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, Crawdon's gonna be more breaking. I run defensive Crawdon. I don't know.
What? Okay.
uh
Regardless,
no.
yeah, one rocker really bad, one defogger really bad, bad defensive backbone, and I'm going to be
And that
consistent.
one rocker doesn't run rocks.
Nido King definitely runs rocks.
I don't see Nidoking running rocks much. I feel like this team's gonna try and go for fast games because if it can
For
do a
sure.
faster game, it wins. But
I
if there's a long drawn out game, this team's gonna just lose because it has no longevity,
I almost
in
think
my opinion.
it could have benefited from the same thing as Mac Daddy, where I think if the drafter they went harder for hazards in the latter half, say they got webs and
Yep.
then they can run Spectrier,
Yeah.
or stuff like that. I think it would have benefited a lot, just or
I
spikes or
mean,
whatever, versus like basically a bunch of useless guys. To be quite frank, in my opinion, on the
I
latter
mean,
half.
the only one out of the last six that I even really like is Kling Klang here.
I think Rotom Fan's fine. I think Crawdon's fine, but I don't think they add a lot. You know,
Yeah, they don't add enough. They're just not doing enough here to support the first five.
yeah, but I mean, this team is still 10th, which is pretty close to the upper half because
Yeah.
the top five is just really good.
The top five are pretty interesting.
Yeah, so
All
uh,
right.
once again, not a lot we can say more about this. It's just a really offensive team.
All right. Let's move on to ninth.
Okay, in ninth we have Stefan. Hello.
Stefan. I think I liked this team more, right?
Yeah, if I recall, you like this
I could
team
be wrong.
significantly more than I did.
I think it was significantly more. Man, I really like this team. I first off, I really like Torn T as a pivot mon. Here it's gonna try and be doing more damage, which isn't particularly great because its biggest move is Hurricane, but still, I think it's gonna be pretty nice to see it press just Hurricane and do its thing, although it's unreliable as hell. You have Heatran, which can do a lot of damage if you need it to. It's going to be running more bulky here. I think out of the teams, this probably has one of the better bulk cores.
I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this team is definitely bulkier than I think any team we've seen so far, other than maybe Warriors. Although yeah, this is probably just a little bit bulkier. Your biggest, I will say, there's a huge problem. Your biggest threat being Mega Beedrill is just not good enough. Um, you need like maybe one or two more big threats that can do a lot of damage.
Yeah. So this
You
team,
also sniped Thwackey from him.
yeah, this team is really good at a lot of the utility stuff. A lot of defoggers, a lot of hazard setters, um, which is all really good. Has taunt, has knock, so it's really good at a lot of that stuff. But in my opinion, the breakers just aren't going to hit hard enough. Torrentee is too unreliable. Latios is just not that good of a breaker in Gen 8. Heatran is kind of going to be matchup dependent as a breaker. Crook is much better as a cleaner than a breaker. And Mega
Yeah,
Beedrill, I'm sorry,
absolutely.
Mega Beedrill is just not that good.
The
It's like
Mega
it's
Beedrill is
fine.
amazing. I will absolutely disagree with you here.
It's fine, but this team does get pretty high up just because its utility is so good, its defensive core is so good. And there's definitely going to be some matchups where it will have great offense capabilities with Latias and Heatran and
Yeah.
Pedro. So
Any team that's weak to bug, poison.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think this team has a great utility, just not good enough breakers for me personally.
Yeah, I agree. There's not enough breakers for this to be higher up. Kind of looking back at it, I probably would have ranked this team a little bit lower, probably more towards 7 or 9.
Mhm.
But it's definitely got a good enough defensive core to live some hits.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's enough about Stefan's team, though. And we'll move on to the next team. And we had a really big
Oh,
difference on this one.
this is this is the bit. I'll let you start this one. I'll let you start this.
Okay, so to be clear, Dylan ranked much higher than eighth place. Um, and Frosty obviously did not, as we averaged our scores. Um, so to start, I think this team has it has Mew and Feeny, and I think both of those mons are mons that can win pretty much any game, uh, just straight up. And then Cinderaces are really good pivots. One's an offensive pivot, one's a defensive pivot, and it has really good hazard control with Mew, Feeny, Cinderace, Sizz, and Serena all being able to get rid of hazards or switch the field. So I think that's really important. And then I think the rest of the mons are all useful as well. With Goodra, obviously a great sponge. Drapion's one of the best dark types in my opinion. Can set up T spikes. Mega Kang can be run offensively and defensively. Just look at his stats. His stats are just really solid. Runerigas can hazard stack, and Electrode can do screens. So all these mons are useful. I don't think any of the mons are straight up not useful. And it might be lacking a little bit in power, but I think it makes up for it. Unlike Stefan's in utility and the ability of Mew and Feeny to win a game from any standpoint.
This is the only one I don't see what you see in it. So essentially, for me, this team doesn't support Mew well enough. Mew really likes to be a really good sponge. Probably could be one of the best ones if you're running Cosmic Power. I mean, like the only other ones that may be able to beat it are like Mega Aggron, right? But Mega Aggron doesn't have recovery. Mew does have recovery,
Yeah,
and I
that
will
type of
say,
set.
this is out of all of the teams, this is probably the second best when it comes to bulk. Because, just because Mew Feeny, right? Probably
Yeah.
second, maybe even first. There's one more team. I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head. It may be Warriors. I'm thinking it's number one, but this team does have a lot of defensive bulk. Mew Mew just really likes to have really powerful breakers behind it. You like Mega Arrow, Buzzwole, all these Pokemon that can break really well, and there's just none of those on this team. The closest one is Mega Kangaskhan, which I don't think is going to be doing enough damage unless they're bringing Power Up Punch every week. Which, if you bring Power Up Punch every week, it can do a lot of damage because you get 2 boosts right off the bat.
Yeah,
But
Dylan. Maybe you should think about running Power on Punch, bro.
please, Dylan, think about it. Instead of Earthquake, maybe Power Up Punch.
Yeah, it could help out. Just a couple of matchups.
But yeah, I think the team is. I don't like the team personally. I don't see what Fate sees in it, but I'll respect Fate's opinion for sure. I do like the pivoting on the team. I will say that. I personally do like the defoggers, but I don't like how Runerigas is really the only mon setting rocks because Mew doesn't want to run rocks every game. Um, it's setting T spikes though, which is really nice, and Drapion can do that too, which is really good. But I feel like you wanted one more rocker and maybe even one more, like a flying type would have been amazing on this team because you have an amazing, ground resist, but then you have like 3 Pokemon weak to ground type moves and no flying type Pokemon at all, which I think offensively a flying type Pokemon here would have been really nice.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing that the big thing that I would agree with you on is that he really could use another stealth rocker outside of you and Rodriguez because Rodriguez is kind of iffy. It maybe comes to 2 or 3 out of 8 games if he keeps it the whole
Honestly, I
season.
don't.
Maybe even only one.
Is Paolo saying the same amount of points as Rodriguez?
Actually, probably costs. Yeah, I mean it should be around the same, around
They're
there.
exactly the same. I don't see why you grab Rodriguez over Paolo Sand, but I'll let that be.
um, yeah, I mean, obviously we completely disagree philosophically here. Um,
Completely disagree.
And I'm obviously
But
I'm not being very consistent either, because I said Stefan doesn't have enough breakers. Dylan also doesn't have enough breakers, but I think, like I said, the main difference here is that I think Mew and Feeney are just much better setup threats from any point of the game.
Mew has to run like, in my opinion, I see Mew here running a lot of power, which is fine if you want to run like physical Mew a few weeks with Dragon Dance. Dragon Dance Mew is pretty damn good,
I think I
but I
think
feel like it's just
even I think even plot Mew is just great.
yeah. I mean, like you have those sets. I just feel like personally, like it's probably just me being like, hey, me, this is like one of my favorite Pokemon to use. So I'm probably just being a little stingy about it. And this team, I'm probably underrating this team, but that's fine. We'll see what happens when we come to the Dylan battle for me.
All right, I think that's all we can go on this team. Next up,
Yep.
we have our brother in call with me, Big Frost man. What do you think about your team, Big
Yeah.
Frost man?
Okay. I think it's definitely better defensively than some of the teams. Personally, I don't like my breaking power being Megalop Latios, most of the time. I mean, Rotom Heat can do a lot of damage, but like it's really just those three. Everything else is mainly defense. I mean, Life Orb Clefable exist, but I'm not going to be running that every week. I just feel like my breakers aren't good enough to do a lot of damage. But if I'm in like a long game battle, I could absolutely just whittle an opponent down enough to win. And I also have Bidoof. I can't lose.
So true. Yeah. So I mostly think that this team, like, I just think the top three are going to be really good and enough to carry you through most matchups. Even the top four, I think Rotom Heat's great. Um, and that, yeah, I mean, I think it's just that simple. I think you have a bunch of really good mons, and that's why you're up here. And even the utility is pretty solid. I think you could maybe use another defogger because your defoggers are a little tough as just Rotom and Latios, which might want to be more offensive most weeks. But you definitely have enough rockers with Pert, Registeel, and Clef. Um, so I think your rockers are good from there. You could maybe use a spiker, but I think that this team is going to have the tools to win most weeks with Clef and Latios and Megalop and Rotom. And the main drawback to me when I ranked this team, which by the way, Frosty did not rank himself. It was only me that ranked him, so I put him 7 or whatever, and this is where he is. Uh, is that I think a lot of his mons in the latter half are going to be really one-dimensional, namely Shaman, Registeel, and Swampert. But I think that's okay.
I can see why you say that. Absolutely.
I'm also a big Shaman hater. I think Shaman's bad, but I think that this team does enough offensively and defensively, and it really meshes well together offensively and defensively. Whereas a lot of the other teams are really good at one and not the other. So I think this team just deserves to be this high based on the fact that it can do both well.
It's gonna be an interesting season, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, unless you want to talk about your team more yourself, I'm good to
Uh,
move on.
uh, yada yada. Bidoof wins. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Let them know. Okay. In sixth place, we have Omar.
Yeah, we weren't too. We weren't too. I think like we had these similarly
Yeah, yeah,
same
definitely.
place. I will be one to say this is like gonna look really weird. Chestnut's like one of my favorite Pokemon in draft.
I like Chestnut a
So
lot.
cool. Actually, I really like Chestnut here. I don't like how it's your only rock resist. Although it's an amazing rock resist, beautiful rock resist, right? I don't like it as the only rock resist.
Usually that's what happens though when you get Mega Sizz is that your fighting type is rock resist.
Yeah, I don't like Megasis at all. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think Mega Sizz. I just think his top three is incredible. They're all great momentum getters, and they kind of enable each
His
other.
I don't know how he finessed Lando T out of Mary, but I mean, yeah, it made this team terrifying.
Yeah,
I mean, even Vape for
I was to
Wish
say,
passing on the Coke,
and flip turn.
Vape for Wish passing. And flip, yeah, I mean, that onto Lando. Lando doesn't get Roost, right? I don't think it does, right?
No, 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 no.
Even though Coco can use Roost, here it doesn't need to use that fourth move slot for Roost. It can use a different move. I think Obstagoon's really underrated. I think a lot of people underrate it and just don't bring enough answers for it. I think its defensive typing is really good. Although it's 4 times weak to fighting, you can get answers for those. I think Chandelure here is a little. I don't know. How do you feel about that one?
I really like Chandelure and Obstagoon, and honestly, I really like his whole latter half of his draft because a lot of what I've been saying about the latter half of most people's drafts is like that mon's useless, that mon's useless, that mon's useless. But I think all his mons in the latter half of his draft are useful, and specifically Chandelure, I think is going to benefit a lot from Sizz, Lando, Coco, and Vape getting it in safely, and then it just gets to use its absolutely monstrous special attack stat. And same thing with Obstagoon. I think it's going to benefit a lot from those getting it in. And this is obviously just a super momentum based team, but I think it's really solid
Yeah,
at that.
I absolutely think it's really, really good at that. I love how there's two basically dedicated rockers in my opinion, and then there's a dedicated spike mon. I mean, those are really good for your hazards. I mean, Chestnut just sets up spikes, and then Lando T comes out, presses rocks, and your opponent's taking a lot of damage each turn if they're not getting rid of them.
Yeah, yeah. And I think his team actually just has a lot of versatility. Coco can be a great offensive mon, but also can function as a good defensive pivot. Same thing with Sizz, same thing with Lando. And then those are the main things. But his top mons are versatile, and even the rest of his mons are somewhat versatile as well. So
Yeah. His top three are going to cause so much prep that the rest of the team may not be possible to prep for.
yeah, and
Like
I think they enable so well.
yeah, I think an opponent's going to come into the game and be like, okay, I prepped for these three Pokemon. I got to hope like this Pokemon doesn't come, right?
Yeah, it's just really solid offensively and defensively. There's
Yep.
not that much more to say. There's not really a super huge weakness on the team either. No ghost resist is probably the biggest thing that I could say is that
Yeah.
the ghost resist not existing is going to make certain
Well,
matchups really hard. Like, let's say he
I
plays
mean,
against the Spectre team.
Obstagoon. Spectre team's a little scary for this team. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess you're right. He does have Obstagoon, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That guy doesn't count.
But yeah, I think this team's going to do really, really well.
Yeah, I just think it's solid, solid overall.
Solid.
All right, next up at fifth place we have Gloxinia, and we super disagreed on this one. So I took
We
the last
also,
one.
yeah.
I took the last one that we super disagreed on. So this is you. This is you.
Oh, I love this team. I will not lie. I absolutely love this team. I think Urshifu plus Gengar is very threatening. And then on top of that, Dio's speed. I mean, just having to prep for those three in general is going to be really, really hard. They hit so many types really, really hard. They hit so many Pokemon. The only thing is, Urshifu as your only physical mon, even then, isn't bad. But then you have like Bulu on top of that, which I know a lot of people hate on Bulu. I love this Pokemon, and it needs a secondary fairy,
I'm
and
a
they do
Bulu
have a
hater.
secondary fairy.
No,
Yeah, I expected that.
Audino already needs a secondary fairy. They can't both need a secondary fairy.
I feel like there were better secondary fairies. Slurpuff. I feel
Oh,
like
okay.
Glocks.
Wait. No, Slurpuff doesn't count as a fairy either.
No. I love
No,
Slurpuff.
bro, Slurpuff is the belly drum sticky whip machine.
No. No. You can run it any way you want. I don't know if Aromatisse was on the board in the
It got
game.
drafted. It got drafted.
It got drafted, yeah. Okay. I also really like Karkul as a low tier. Volbeat, I feel like you could have traded that for, it's, in my opinion, better, sister? Maybe.
Yeah.
Illumise. Uh, I, the only Pokemon I don't like on this draft is Flygon. Only one I don't like on this draft.
Yeah, Flygon's kind of ugly
But
here.
Yeah, Flygon's very ugly, especially it's shiny. I mean, we can see that here.
It's gross.
Yeah. But I think this team is like really good. Capping out at 110 is not bad when it's a Gengar, and then you have an Urshifu who's basically base 100. You have a Rotom Wash right there, which is one of the best pivot mons in the game. Uh, Skarmory is a good steel type in my opinion, even though it can't take special hits. You have Rotom Wash who can take special hits for you, and even Bulu can do a little bit specially sometimes, but it's more likely if you're gonna bring it as a wall, you're bringing it as a physical wall. But Bulu, I think between Urshifu, Gengar, Dio Speed, and Bulu, this team's going to be doing a lot of damage, and it's going to be really hard to beat it.
Yeah. So this team. I obviously ranked it lower than Frosty, and I think he covered like a lot of its strengths. I think like Urshifu Gengar, Dio Speed, Tapu Bulu, great offensively, and this team is really good offensively. But I think my biggest issue with the team was the fact um, that he has just a bunch of awkward ones like Urshifu single, Gengar, Rotom Wash, and okay, wait, hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I completely lost my train of thought, but yeah, okay. I think he just has a bunch of awkward guys. So Urshifu, Gengar, Rotom, and Skarm are pretty like not
That,
awkward, but I think Speed, Bulu, I think the rest of his team is just super awkward to play in general, and I really, really dislike that. Like, strongly dislike that. His typings are great, and you can see that in the type chart. He doesn't have a really significant weakness. Um, and honestly, I probably could have rated this a little bit higher. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm just not feeling it for whatever reason. Maybe it's defensively what I'm not feeling. I think is the main thing is that Rotom Wash, Skarm don't do it for me defensively. I think they lose to too much and get chipped down too easily. And I know Bulu can come defensively, but Bulu's ass. Um, and Autono is Autono, bro. It's 6 points. Like, it's not that good. What do you think?
guy.
I'm here. I'm here. You good?
Wait, did Nintendo get you? Oh,
You good?
I can hear you now.
Okay, that's good. Go ahead and talk then. Let us know.
I believe in Autono. Autono kill leader. Do it.
Yeah, I'm not a believer. Yeah,
Do it,
so
Glax.
honestly,
Proof.
yeah, just my biggest issue is that I think that's a bunch of awkward guys, and I'm not a believer in the defensive backbone like you are. And that's been a pretty large sticking point for me throughout the whole PR.
I believe in this defensive backbone. We'll see. Oh, we'll see. Glocks may prove me wrong. Glocks may prove you wrong. It, I don't know which one.
Yeah. All right, I think that's enough with that team. We super disagreed on this one
Yeah.
too. We super disagreed on fourth.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, this next one. This next one.
so fourth place,
There's a specific reason Fate didn't like this one.
fourth place, Volgado is the rain team of the draft. Take it away. Take it away. Take it away. Tell me why rain is good before I rebuttal.
Oh, here's the thing. Rain go burr. As my friend Jake says, rain is really fucking hard to beat. You have to have answers to it. Mega Swampert's one of like the best breakers in the game, especially with rain behind it. They have Zapdos, they have the fucking V thing. They have Ferrothorn, which I think is an amazing grass because it just doesn't die in rain. I was like trying to find things to get onto this team about. I was like, oh, there's no secondary fairy. Wigglytuff is your only fairy. It's not going to work. And then I saw, oh, there's a top hat guy. I was like, oh, there's no dark. Oh, there's Persian Alola. The only in my opinion, this team, as long as Polito doesn't die, it's gonna do enough damage to just win. Too many games. I don't hate Rain nearly as much as Fate does. I think Rain's good if you draft a good Rain team. Rain with speed, and this is Rain with speed.
Okay, so here I come to tell Frosty why he's wrong about everything and he should stop playing Pokemon. Um, so Rain is not that good, um, and Swampert is not that uncheckable. So that is the main difference
I mean,
for.
did y'all just not love my Rain team last season?
Yeah, so Swampert's not that uncheckable. Some clashing with Victini and Rain. It's playable. Like you can play around it, but like, why would you force yourself to play around that? It's just hard
Big
uh,
Nintendo get
for,
you again.
for me to like. Um, and then also, whatchamacallit? Also, the fact that I lost my train of thought, boys. I lost my train of thought. The fact that okay, I'm gonna get there eventually, though. I'm gonna get there. Oh yes, okay. So the fact that he has Politoed as his brain setter instead of Pelipper, I think, is actually a pretty big issue. I think that rain teams, in order to be good, really want Pelipper to be there to help them out because Pelipper is just a lot better with U-turn and defog. I think it provides a lot more to the team rather than Politoed. And then I think this team's good offensively. I don't think it's that hard to check though. I think Zapdos
It's
is
just me, but I feel like a third flying type for this team just wouldn't be a smart thing.
um maybe, but then you just don't draft Noivern.
Yeah, but then you lose all your speed.
You don't need you have Burt. It's fine. Don't matter. Then you just draft something else. Like
No, 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 no. You need speed and rain. I'm sorry.
well,
It's not giving you speed.
you just draft something else then. Like you draft
I
something
mean,
else
yeah,
that's
you could
fast.
absolutely draft something else that's faster.
I just think Polytoad is just the infinitely worse rain setter, and this team
Oh, it's
just
absolutely a worse rain setter.
and I know I think it's not even close. I think Brain just functions so much better with Pelipper. Bad synergy with Victini. You can play around it, but it's not great. Zapdos is the better rain abuser and harder to check under rain. Um, yeah, really good utility though, and it definitely has the power to win games. To be
I would agree
clear,
with that because I agree with that. Yeah.
I just don't like rain that much, and I think Pelipper is the better rain setter. That was our big difference. Do you have anything else you would like to
I think
add?
we can move on.
Okay, cool. So in third place, we have Big Mister Big Mister Toast. So what do you have to say about Big Mister Toast?
I don't like this team at all.
Oh
All right,
no! Oh no!
let's. Well, it's not that I don't like it at all. I looked back at it at the end. I was like, you know what? This seems definitely better than I'm leading it on to be. I just feel. I mean, like you were talking about like defensive mons earlier.
Oh yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. I feel like this team's just not defensive enough. I mean, Primarina wants to be a bulky water type here, but it's not really a bulky water type. The main thing I got onto about was the speed drop from Pult to Heliolisk is just unacceptable. There's too many Pokemon in there, like Weavile, that can absolutely just abuse the hell out of that. And then even then, Heliolisk isn't coming every game,
yeah. I just
so you have the
okay.
Heligo.
So let me say something about that. Your point about the speed cures. That's not really going to
Okay.
be important unless you're playing against something like Coco, because Heliolisk is fast enough to where you have to be around 125 to run Adamant slash Modest instead of Timid or Jolly, which means that speed drop really is not going to be important unless you're playing against something like Coco or Law.
I Yeah, I mean, like it's probably not as bad as I'm letting it out to be, but I still feel like it could have been improved on because there's a lot of scarfers that could absolutely just go in there.
Yeah,
Although you then have to run a scarf.
yeah, yeah. So like Frosty said, this team pretty poor defensively outside of Manabuzz. And Manabuzz is a great pivot though. I just
Great
rank
pivot, but I
I just rank this team extremely high because I think Holt, Metacham, Prem is crazy broken offensively, and I just cannot
I
leave it too low.
I I agree with you. I just don't think it's not gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be able to live. I mean, Frostmoth is their ground, their ground resist. It's a Frostmoth.
Mudsdale should function enough though as a ground resist.
I mean, Mudsdale can take a hit or two. It's physical. Well, yeah, I guess its physical defense is high enough, but like it's still. I feel like the team's not gonna be able to last against too many really really good grounds. Mamoswine's gonna eat this team for breakfast. I think.
Mamoswine's bad.
But I mean, to be fair, there's only one Mamoswine in the entire league, so
Yeah. Well,
that's not much.
hey, Piloswine, Piloswine.
Yeah, but Pilot Swine too. Yeah, Pilot Swine eats this team now. I just feel like the defense is nowhere near good enough to have because like they got Dragapult, Mega Medi, Nihilego, Prim. Fine. I feel like everything else could have been defensive, right? And then you grab like Heliolisk, which is really not a defensive mon. It's more, definitely more, you know, cleaning. And then you have Mudsdale, who is a good defensive mon. You have Entei, who I think is in a weird
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say
phase.
something about the Entei as well. I think if there's one mon that you drop on this team, it's that boy
It's
Entei.
Entei.
It's that boy Entei for sure
It's
because he doesn't serve
I
a great
absolutely agree.
purpose. He does not serve a great purpose because you have Nihilego to hit grass types, you have Metachan to hit steel types. It doesn't serve a great purpose, and if you can replace that for a defensive mon to really help you,
It would help a
this
lot.
team gets infinitely better, and it probably jumps to the best team. To be honest, it just has a little bit more defensive utility.
Yeah, I think it would be if it had like one or two more defensive mods, it would be probably top five for me.
Yeah. Um, so I just like I said, defensively it's pretty bad, but to me, it made up for it enough with the offense, and not so much for Frosty.
It's, also another thing, I think Dragapult's super overrated, but we'll see,
You
we'll see, we'll
see,
see,
see. Now he's got his tinfoil hat on.
we'll see how the season goes.
All right, let's go ahead and move on
Maybe
to
maybe week one will change my mind.
let's move on to number 2, Gage.
Oh, I think we ranked this team about the same, right?
I recall it on the same, if I recall.
Yeah, I think I can't remember, but
I definitely
I
I had it lower than this for sure.
oh, we both had it lower than this. It was just
Yeah,
it
tie
was one of
breaks.
the two highest ranking teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this team too. I think this is a really good team. I think Garchomp Stila is a really good core, and then you have Dio defense. I feel like you could have waited on Dio defense. I don't really take those into account, but I definitely think you could have waited on Dio defense.
I agree. Yeah.
Um, then I think Raiku's really gonna be really good for sweeping. I think Zarude is an amazing grass type and an amazing dark type.
Yeah, Zaru's
I
incredible.
also Zarude's incredible. Blastoise is incredible. Weezing's incredible. I also one thing I want to point out. I think Silvally on this team is really well, like really fits well to this team because with Silvally, a lot of people use it to fill in a hole. I don't like that on like every team that does it. This team doesn't really use it to fill in a hole. It's using it as, hey, it's a trump card.
Yeah. I kind of agree with. I see what you're saying for sure. It doesn't have like an outstanding weakness that it's using Silvally to help with. It's just
I can I can see it coming as Silvally Steel if there's like really really good.
it's
Um, yeah, if it's like if there's Edgequake, I feel like it could come as Steel to help with the edge part.
I think
But overall,
I think it comes as fairy the most.
It could come as fairy. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean this team is just really
I
solid overall. I don't love certain parts of it. Like I think DoD is eh. Like
I
I think some parts of it don't mesh super great for me, but Garchomp Stila is just really incredible as the 1-2, and then Raikou Zarude are both great. And then after that, it has plenty of utility to help those four really win with DoD, Weezing, Blastoise, and Silvally, and even Ribombee. So
I absolutely agree with that. I like DoD a lot, mainly because I'm using it, and I'm just like, man, this Pokemon's actually really good. But I can see the complaints about it.
it's
It's a
just
nice Pokemon. Is it allowed? Is it allowed nasty plot?
no. Well, yeah, I think it is. It's just a little passive though, for me.
It is passive. I agree. It is passive. But I think this team has enough non-passive Pokemon to make up for it. Personally,
Yeah, definitely. And I think we mostly agree about this team. I think it's just solid. We both
it's
we
very
both
solid.
personally had it lower, but the way the averages ended up working, this ended up being this high. So yeah, I think that's all we can say about that. Though, let's go ahead and move to number one.
Oh boy, this team.
So Star Maiden, the highest ranking uh, player from last season that returned to WOOPER and did not promote, is back with the number one team MPRs.
That sounds terrifying. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
This team.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh man. Mega Gal. I mean, like you were a little basic with Mega Gallade Aegislash, but I mean, is basic even bad at this point? I mean, that's really, really good. And then you topped it off with Greninja. Nidoqueen. Even I think Nidoqueen's really underrated in terms of how much power it can dish out, and how defensive it is. I'll excuse the rubber chicken for now. You have Rotom, which is a really good grass type in my opinion, and then you have the really fucking good physical tank and mill tank. I think Aromatisse is one of the best fairies you can get for value. I don't understand why there's an ice cream cone on this team.
No, no, the
And then I think
cones. No, you're underrating the cones. The cones get veil. It just veils.
oh I understand the cone gives veil. I personally would have liked a you know if you're gonna grab it, why not just grab a Rainmon? I feel like Lycanroc wasn't needed, right?
I mean,
Although
I guess you could have got like a slush rush
Rock,
guy, right?
yeah, I mean like you could have got I don't know how many points Lycanroc is, but if it's around the same as Arctozolt, I
Yeah,
mean,
Arctozolt was definitely gone, but you could have got the other one.
Arctozolt is not gone.
No, oh, it's not gone, and oh my god, I'm thinking of Quack.
No one took Arctozolt.
Okay, yeah, no, drop Lycanroc, pick up Arctozolt immediately, and
if
win
it
the
if
division. Are you crazy?
if if they're worth the same amount of points, it's all over.
And bro, it doesn't even matter. Like
Uh,
you can downgrade on some of the other mods to get Arctozolt.
you could you could absolutely downgrade Moltres and just get Sniffly Boy.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we this team incredible offensively. I think Nidoqueen, Moltres, Rotom, Miltank, and Aromatisse are good enough defensively, and Aegislash are good enough defensively to
Yeah.
carry it through. Galade, Aegislash, and Gren are
This
just so
this was the team
incredible.
I was
That's
thinking.
just that's
This
just
was
so
the
crazy.
Yeah, I love Aegislash. This is the team I was thinking was number one in terms of defense, in my opinion.
I don't think I would put it that high defensively, but I think that it has like your team one of the best like meshes of really good offense and really good defense that comes
Yeah,
together.
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, Mega Gallade Greninja is going to be really hard for most people to deal with. I don't like how the only Dark type's Greninja, but even then on this team, it actually kind of fits well because you don't have too big of a psychic weakness because you have, Aegislash.
Yeah, and it helps out that Miltank is also here to help with ghosts.
Miltank is Miltank's insanely good.
Yeah,
It's underrated.
yeah. I mean, I think this team
Yeah.
really speaks for itself, to be honest. So if you
If
want
if you know if they want to grab Arctozolt, I will hope and pray I don't fight them ever.
to, okay. Uh, we're gonna pause real quick, and then we'll pull up our individual rankings because I think that's about all we can say.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So we are back, boys, with the PRs, with our individual PRs as well, and you guys should be able to see them on your screen.
Do we want to list them out too? Like say them?
No, I mean, you guys, they're not in order here, but you can see that.
Yeah, if y'all want to see them, y'all can pause and look.
Yeah, you can see that I had Dylan at 1, and he ended up being, I think, at 8 in the actual PR, whereas Frosty had Gloxinia at 1. So those, I think, were like some of the major differences.
We had a pretty unanimous decision on Billy.
Yeah, he was really low for both of us, and I think the team that we both agreed was really good. The most was probably Star Maiden, which he also ended up in first place. So it completely makes sense.
Yep, Star Maiden Engage. Yeah, there's some really good players in this division, and I think I kind of already know what playoffs is going to look like based off of those players.
Oh, give us the prediction. Just give us the prediction.
Okay, the prediction is, of course, my alarm goes off. Star Maiden.
Okay.
Toast.
Yes.
I think Glocks.
Okay.
I think Dylan.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If Mac Daddy plays it right, I'm not gonna say he's gonna make it in, but if Mac Daddy plays it right, he absolutely could. He's a decent player.
Mm-hmm.
I think Glocks is pretty okay, so I think I'm gonna put Glocks in there. Omar's brand new, but man, Omar's really good. He's in my league too. He's in SBT. He's doing really good. And then I think the last one's just a wild card at that point.
All right.
Last two.
I think I'd see that for sure. I think the biggest difference actually that we had was Sky. You had Sky top 6, and I had Sky bottom 3. So I'm 90% sure that was our biggest difference.
No, the biggest one was Dylan. That's a 12. It was 12 for Dylan, while it was
God.
It was only 7 for Sky.
Oh my
God. It was, or 8 for Sky.
Dude, I have Dylan first place. You got 13. Oh my God.
I didn't like that team. I can see a few of the things you're saying. It's not working for me.
Of course, I can understand that for sure. I mean this is pretty much this is what we got here. I don't know if there's much else we can talk about. I just wanted to show you guys our individual rankings. I thought it was interesting how much we differed, actually. Is there anything else you want to add before we dip out?
I think that's about it. Thank y'all for watching.
Yep. Thank y'all for watching the video. If you like it, and subscribe for more. Quackstar PRs will be out soon, and it'll be the both of us again. So catch you guys then.